So welcome everybody to this latest video on 162 Maths, and in this video we'll be going over an AQA GCSE Maths Foundation topic test relating to basic percentages. Now as always there'll be a copy of the test in the description below for you either to have an attempt at before watching this video or while watching this video as we go through the answers. Now, as with all of these topic tests, there is no indication as to whether they are calculator or non-calculator questions. So what we'll do is we'll pretend that they are non-calculator, show off for working out. Then obviously with some of the questions, if they are calculator, I will show you how we can use our calculator to answer the question, which will pretty much be basically entering what our working out is on our calculator. So enough of that, let's get started on these questions. So question 1 says, write 63% as a decimal. So for this, again, it's only worth 1 mark. So the correct answer you should have is 0.63. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, you take the percentage and you simply divide it by 100. Or what we need to then do is then move the decimal point 2 places to the left to make it smaller. And if we move that decimal 2 places, we get 0.63. Then looking at question 2, it says write 85% as a fraction in its simplest form. So we take the percentage 85 over and we write it over 100, and then we just want to simplify each of these. So we then think to ourselves, okay, what goes into 85 and 100? Well, it's going to be 5. So then 85 divided by 5 gives me 17. 20 divided by 5 gives me 20, and that can't be simplified, so it's going to be 17 over 20. Question 3 then says circle the smallest value of 7 over 20, 30%, 0.33 and 1/3. Now for this, what I would do is I would convert all of them into decimals. So 7 over 20 is the same as 3.5 over 10, dividing both numbers by 2. And then moving the decimal point 1 place to the left to make it smaller when dividing by 10. So this number here becomes 0.35. 30% as a decimal is 0.30. Then we've got 0.33 and 1/3 is 0.3333 recurring. So we want to circle which one is the smallest, and that's going to be 30%. Question 4 then says circle the fraction that is equivalent to 44%. So just as we did before, we write the percentage over 100. Can't see that anywhere on the 4 options, so then we go on to simplify that by dividing by 2. So I get 22 over 50. No, can't see any of those. So let's divide it by 2 again. So I get 11 over 25, which is our second option. Moving on to question 5, it says to arrange the following values in order, starting with the smallest. So again, I would probably recommend that you convert all of these into decimals. So that's going to be 0.66, and 3/4 is going to be 0.75. So again, if you're not too sure how to convert fractions into decimals, all you need to do is just do a bit of division. So for this one here, it's going to be 8 and 5 inside your bus stop. 3/4 is 3 over 4. And again, you can either know that off by heart or you can do some division to work that out. So looking at this, which one is the smallest? Well, it's going to be 62.5 or 0.625. So that's 5/8. The next smallest is 66%. The next smallest is 0.7. And the largest is 0.75. Then working with question 6, it says a circle is divided into 4 pieces. Estimate what percentage each piece is its original circle. Now for this answer, there are a couple of ranges in which they'd accept. So for A, they would accept any answer up to and including 88 to 92. For B, they would accept any answer between 6 and 14. Now remember, we need to give our answers as percentage. So again, try not to give it as an angle. For C, they're looking for any answer that's between 31 and 39. And for D, any answer between 28 and 35. So that would get you 2 marks. And for your final mark, you need to make sure that all your percentages add up to 100%. So you just need to work out the sum of your A, B, C, D and make sure it adds up to 100%. If it doesn't, just tweak one of the values. For question 7, it says Tom, Dick and Harry share a pizza. Tom eats 50%, Dick eats 50%, and of what is left, what percentage of the original pizza does Harry eat? So let's start off by drawing a circle, or circle at that. I return this pizza. So this is how much Tom eats. So of the amount of pizza that's left, Dick eats half of that. So that's Dick's half. or not half, but amount. So how much of the original circle is left? Well, that's going to be 25%. And again, remember, we need to give our answer as a percentage, not as a decimal, not as a fraction. Looking at question 8, it says, which is the greater percentage? Now, again, what you want to try and do here is try and have some comparability. So 18 out of 40. Now, we can simplify that. So we get 9 over 20. And that becomes then 4.5 over 10, which then becomes 45 over 100, which then becomes 45%. Then with 41 over 90, again, we're going to find it really difficult to kind of simplify this. So you could use long division. You could try and simplify it by dividing both numbers by 9. But again, it's entirely up to you how you go about working this answer. So 41 divided by 90 should give us an answer of 0.4555 recurring. So which of these is greater? Well, it's going to be 41 over 90. Another way of doing it is to try and get a common denominator. So you've got 18 and 40, and you've got 41 over 90. So common denominator here would be 360. And so if we multiply this fraction by 9, so 18 times 9 gives me an answer of 162, and 41 times 4 gives me 164. So you can see that this one is going to be greater. Look at question 9. It says a quantity is doubled in size. What percentage has it increased by? Circle your answer. Most people will go for 200%, but actually the correct answer is 100%, because if you're doubling, you always start with 100%. If I'm doubling the pack, then again, I'm adding on, I'm going to end up with 200%. So then I'm adding another 100%, and that there is why it's the answer. Moving on to question 10, it says the doorway is closed by 2 sliding doors. Each sliding door is 6% of the width of the doorway. When the door is closed, they overlap. What percentage of the width is of the doorway is overlapped? Again, a bit of a mouthful. So this is 60%, this is 60%, and this is overlapped. So again, if we add these two percentages up, we end up with 120%. So this middle bit must be 120. If you imagine that's halfway, then I'm going to be using 10% of each door. So the correct answer then is going to be 20. Looking at question 11, it says, which of the following statements is definitely false? Tick your choice. It says that I blew a balloon up to 120% of its original size, which again, absolutely possible. I ate 120% of a cake. Now that one is false, because you can't eat 120%, because obviously your original cake is 100%, and you can't then, the cake doesn't breed into more cake, unfortunately, for cake lovers. Moving on to question 12, it says that a farm has a total of 160 hectares. 62 hectares are used for growing crops. Work out the percentage of the area of the farm that is used for growing crops. So here what we want to do is we want to work out what 62 over 160 is going to be as a percentage. So what we want to try and do is try and get the denominator as a factor of 100. If not, we want to write it in its simplest form and then use division to convert it into a decimal and then into a percentage. So here we're going to end up with 31 over 80 by dividing by 2. And that doesn't really simplify any further. So what I then need to do, if I write down the 8 times table, so 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 60, no, it's going to be 56, 64, and then 72, and then 80. We don't need 80. And again, because I'm wanting the 80 times table, I just stick a 0 there. So then 31 over 80, so 80 over 31, and I'm definitely going to have some zeros in there. So 80 doesn't go into 31, so it's 0 point, and then I'm just going to add 31 in there to 310. Now 310 is 240, so that's 3 lots. And then what's the remainder going to be? Well, it's going to be 70. And then how many then go from there? So it's to 700, and that's going to be 8 with a remainder of 60. And then looking at this then, we've got 60, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, with a remainder of 40, and then that's a 5. So it's 3875, so it's going to be 38.75%. Then moving on to question 13, it says 40% of trees in a wood are diseased, 75% of the trees in the wood are elm. Work out the least possible percentage of trees in the wood that are diseased elms. So looking at this, we've got 40%. So if I imagine this is my forest. Now I know that 40% or 75% are elm. So 75%, and these are the elm trees. And these are the non-elm, which is 25%. Now 40% of this block is going to be diseased. Now the smallest amount, so if I want to preserve the amount of diseased elm trees, then what I'm going to do, now this is, let's imagine all of these non-elm are diseased. So that's 25%. So what percentage more do I need to make it up to 40%? Well, I'm going to need another 15%. And so the smallest amount of possible elm trees that could be diseased is going to be 15%.